Afternoon, Gossip Talk Shows family. It's Luxa here at Gossip Talk Shows. With me today, I have Anna Marie and Aunt Morel. How are you guys?
We're good.
All good, all good. Thanks, Nomsa.
Awesome, awesome. We thought you were not coming because it's the third week. Which week are you not coming on?
Fourth.
Fourth week. Or now it's moved to fourth week.
Has been for about 4 months.
I get confused because first it was the first week and then it's
That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. For about 4 months, it's been the fourth week here.
okay. So it's next week and not this week.
Believe so. Believe so.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, you're here now, Grant. I'm sure the audience feel blessed having you. So the topic today, we're doing part 2 of the topic that we did yesterday with Carol, Ann, and Kamal. Our spring horizon, redefining 2024 across business, self-discovery, and relationship. And so in this groundbreaking topic, we're going to embark on a journey into the heart of transformative year of 2024, exploring the dynamic intersections of business, self-discovery, and relationship as the world evolves at any unpredicted pace. So in this video, it will serve as your compass, guiding you through the challenge and opportunity that lies ahead of life 2024. Hope 2024 is going to be different to all our audience than 2023. So over to you, Grant. What do you think about the topic? You're muted.
Your microphone was cutting out a little bit, Nomsa, so I didn't quite catch everything that you said. Did you hear, Amanda?
Was it?
Yeah, sorry, didn't catch what you were saying and what you were framing up, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was cutting out quite a bit. The topic, do you see the topic, Grant? It says Aspiring Horizon Redefining 2024 across business, self-discovery, and relationships.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, we're continuing on from the previous one with Karen. Yeah, and absolutely, I think it's a great thing to do. It's something which I take a lot of my clients through. It depends when they join in the year, but certainly at the beginning of the year, goal setting is, and that's what I would call it. It's redefining it across a whole range of your life. Very important, rather than just business or just career. I look at it in a whole range of areas so that you have a 360-degree approach to the way you want to be living your life and your career and your business throughout 2024. That's the way I like to look at it. And it helps my clients an awful lot. And quite often I do this when I'm on trainings or masterclasses for people. But yeah, I love that. And that's very important for me. Helps a lot of clients and most importantly, gets them what they want. Amanda, what about you?
Well, I really love this topic because at the beginning of the year, we always can look at like, what are our goals? But unless we sit down and actually write them down and then each week revisit them and think about, okay, what is it that I'm doing to achieve my goal each and every week? And then can you measure that you've actually done it? And so those are some of the things that people are like, okay, I have a New Year's resolution. I'm going to go and do this. And then, but they don't actually do anything to change and start achieving it, or they'll do it for a week or two and then stop right away. And I know even for myself, that's something that I struggle with. So this year, one of my goals is to write a blog entry every week and to focus on abundance in that, because in numerology, the year 2024 is an 8-year, which is a year of abundance. And so when I was reflecting on that, I was like, how can I focus on abundance every single week? And when I meditate each day, how can I have that abundance focus in certain areas? And so even for myself, one of the things that I've done is like I wrote down 52 ways I can focus on abundance. at this very start of the year. And then that's my topics for my blog entries for the entire year. And so I already have them like laid out and set out. So then when I go to write a blog entry, which I've always like dabbled in blog entries and like written some here and written some there, but never like consistent. So my goal for myself is to make sure that I write one every single week of this year. And so then I can hold myself accountable too, to that I actually did it. And so, but now too, I've already set myself up for success because I already have my topics. I don't have to sit there and like brainstorm my topics or be like, oh, I don't know what to write about. I already have 52 topics already ready for me for the year. And so sometimes when we are redefining what it is that we want to achieve, we have to also set ourselves up for success. So how are you setting yourself up for success in the goals that you want? And so what I did was I wrote that goal for the year essentially. And then for this month, I was like, I'll write 4 blog entries. I'm going to do 4 TikToks, and I'm going to like focus on abundance and meditate on it each day. So, and then I already have my topics. So like the first week I focused on our ability to make a difference, even though we may not recognize that we're making a difference. And then the second week was our opportunities to connect, and we can connect. There's so many abundant opportunities to connect with others, especially right now. And then this week's topic was our ability to be infinitely creative. And so abundance doesn't always necessarily mean money. It can mean just focusing on the abundance surrounding you all the time. And so sometimes I think all people think like goals have to be money oriented or like exercise oriented, but really they can just be like mindset oriented. And so that's kind of how I was approaching redefining my 2024 across like building myself and focusing on just the abundance that you see everywhere that you look, and then giving back by writing blog entries to help inspire others to think about what it is that is abundant in their lives.
I love that, Amanda. So you guys, are you in a group of people doing the abundance, or are you just being disciplined on your own?
I'm just doing it on my own.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. It's similar to what I've decided to do as well, because I was saying yesterday that I need to, like, what I've realized that the reason why I didn't achieve the things that I wanted to achieve in 2023 is because they are manifested properly, but the atmosphere wasn't right. So when the atmosphere is not right, it actually takes away the breakthrough. So I didn't know how much it affects it until I went deep and just trying to evaluate things. Why didn't I get the things that I didn't? So, and also not having authority in the realm of the, like if I ask the universe to actually give me just whatever I need each day. If I speak to the universe and speaking to God, I don't have authority. My words, they have no authority in the realm of the spirit, because if anything comes in that changes the atmosphere, I react to it, which apparently I need to stay focused. My emotions, my everything needs to stay focused to the energy that I'm asking for. But if I react to something, like maybe if I switch from disappointment or anger, or somebody triggers something, so I've realized that I need to work on not being easily triggered and just stay focused, because I was like, why do things not like happening every time I'm like, I found this breakthrough, and then something triggers it, or somebody will come and say something that will upset me, and I shouldn't feel that way. So I've realized that I just need to have authority over my feelings, over my thoughts, and over the decisions that, although I thought I had authority, but apparently I didn't. When I was listening to my coach, I didn't. So having authority, it goes deep. no matter how powerful I feel, or no matter how strong I feel or confident I feel, it still needs to be covered with authority. I still need to have authority. So that's what I'm going to do for 2024 to make it really, really different. And you guys, I sent you a message yesterday to have a look at the website and give me feedback and then go to talk show, and you did it. Yeah. So I think 2024, I'm just excited for 2024. What about you, Grant? I like your goal setting when you go set with your clients as well, because I think it's really, really amazing. And I think now I know me and Amanda were doing similar things. That is going to boost me like confidence. And I stopped getting up at 4 a.m. but this week. So I've decided I've been getting up at 4 a.m. and doing things. Sometimes I will just do things, and then by 6, I finish everything. Then I take a break, just to have a nap before I just go to my everyday life. So that's what I've been doing, just getting up at 4 and starting getting up at 4 a.m. and doing things and just praying and meditating and looking at the things that I need to do. What about you, Brent?
Thanks. Well, thanks, Namsa. Yeah, absolutely. Certainly with all my clients, it's essential that they make goals. And we've got a process for doing that. And it's the same for myself. I take myself through the very, very same process. So I take my own medicine, as it were. Very important to do that. And as I say, I look at it from a range of all areas of life, what I want to be doing, how I want to be achieving it. And exactly, the way of achieving it is very important, the way you're willing to work or not. And I had a download over Christmas. I think I mentioned this before, that over Christmas and New Year, I try to do nothing work-wise. Doesn't always work out. I onboarded some new clients, so I had to see them just one session a day. The rest of the time, I purposely didn't do any work and just relax. So rather than forcing goals into my mind, I let them come to me. And that's just what works for me. And just before New Year, I got an absolute download of a feeling of total and complete happiness. And at that point, it was very clear that if I work in this way, or this way, I would not have that feeling. But if I work in that way, or that way, I've got a very strong chance of having that feeling. So then I thought, well, that's that. Clear. From that, I could make my goals, if it makes sense. So I kind of pre-framed it with that. And that's just a way that works for me. If I try to unstrap, because I think that sometimes it's like we're trying to put too much stuff in, and you can't think when you're putting too much information in. You need to be Amanda, I know you are not a boardroom thinker, right? Right? You can't, you put you in a boardroom and say, right, come up with ideas. You're like, oh, it doesn't work for me this way. Not because I've been in a boardroom meeting with you, but because you've told me that. And I totally get that. I think best when I'm horizontal, when I'm laying down on the sofa, or I'm laying in the bed, or I'm walking and listening to music, or just unstrapping, as I call it, just unplugging yourself. And I think I was standing just over there, and I was just on the way to the kitchen to make a cup of tea or something. And as I did, I just thought, wow, what's this feeling that's come over me? Couldn't do that if I was busy. Couldn't do that if I was running around. Now, this isn't going to work for everyone, because some of you have got, I'm busy. I'm busier than I think. People say, well, what are you doing today? I said, oh, just doing this and that. And I said, that's a busy day. And I'm thinking, that actually wasn't a busy one for me. But I understand a lot of people are busy in a different way. They've got to be up very early. They've got to be with kids. And I get that. And you can't always afford to take that much time off work. I understand. So my method necessarily won't work for everybody, but the goal setting part works for pretty much everybody. And I've done this for people who are very, very senior in sort of government institutions, who set goals for all the team, blah, 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 blah. And when I take them through my method, they say, I've never thought of it that way. I've never done it that way. That is amazing. I've never done it myself like that. So it's refreshing for everybody. And it works if you're, an unmarried mother, and you're sitting there looking after a kid on your own, and you're working in part-time in the supermarket, maybe, or maybe not. Or if you're a very, very busy executive, it works for everyone. It allows you to look for all ranges. And it is very important. Amanda spoke about tracking. Yes, that accountability is so, so important. I had a meeting this morning with my coach. So any good coach will have coaches, and I've got coaches myself. And it was going through literally my goals for looking up, wrapping up of last year, taking a look at what happened last year. Did I reach my goals? Did I exceed them? Did I fall a little bit short? What were my key lessons? What were my biggest challenges? What were my biggest lessons from that? And what were my biggest triumphs? All of this put together. And then, of course, I'd already mapped out what I was doing. Yeah, certainly in the first quarter is quite clearly defined, and the rest of the year is somewhat defined. So that's what we're looking at. So I always look at goals in terms of years ahead, so that you can scan a long way into the future, medium way into the future, and then into the near future. That way you avoid overwhelm and you can chunk it down. And when you look at a very big task, if you boil it down into a weekly or maybe even a daily task, it's really not that overwhelming at all. You've just got to have momentum and you need to have accountability. And put that together and you should reach your goals. Amanda, what about kids? Do they do goal setting in any way, shape, or form, or are they too young for that?
They definitely do. Like at the start of the year, we'll write down goals, or during like kind of end of year term reporting time, we'll look at what their goals are. We talk about goals for the new year for sure. I think sometimes with kids, they like teaching them those, like they call them like SMART goals, which it's like specific, SM, manageable, A is like accountable. I forget all of the like part of the acronym, but those ones, they like, I know there was like a huge focus on that a few years ago, but then in the school it's like hard sometimes when we're doing all these different things to really like be like, are you working on your goal today? Are you working on your goal today? Where it's like in general, like I have goals for each of them, but I know that sometimes they don't have like specific ones that they're like, okay, I can measure that I'm a better reader, or I can definitely like be like, okay, they read every single day this week, or they got better at sitting down and reading, or they are improving in their math, and I can see it through this. And so those are the sort of goals that I have for the kids, or even just building their self-confidence. And do you see them growing in their self-confidence? And there's different ways to like make sure that they're doing that. I think too, like some kids are just more naturally inclined, and once you get them interested in things too, then they really are more inclined to like be excited about what it is that they're doing. And so really when we like that self-discovery piece, so much of being a kid is learning about what it is that you really like and what you love to do and what you could spend hours and hours doing, and then go and do more of that and find things that they're really passionate about. I think the purpose of school is really to find your passion and then foster that passion and fuel that passion by giving them lots of different experiences. And so it's not always necessary for us to be like, every single kid is going to be super good at math and super good at reading, and because that's just not realistic. We want them to find their thing and go more in that and get excited about it and be passionate about life and passionate about their learning, whether it's a sport or a music or art or coding or building, whatever it is that they find something that they really love to do. And I think that's really sometimes the purpose of school is to find something that inspires them.
I love that. And I love, Amanda, when you say children, if they are inclined to their goals, they set up something. I do that with my children, but I never win the battle. I always say, okay, let's set goals, and then let's set something what you want to achieve. And there's always a prize in it. At the end of it, they put a prize. Okay, mommy, if I achieve my mates to this, am I gonna get a prize? I'm like, yeah, sure, that's good. You're gonna get a prize. And I find they just do it like they would do it thorough to actually to win the battle. So I end up having to pay for that price. But it is good, it's exciting because they look forward to actually finish their goals. And I also like what you say, Grant, that too much information of everything is too much. It can feel overwhelming for everything. Yeah, you're right. Just one step at a time. One step at a time, you're looking at your goals. I look at my goals like you, Randy. Yeah, I have a 5-year plan, but and then a 3-year plan, and then a 1-year plan. So I look at every year, I look at what I achieved. And so for those things, but this time when the guy I was building a website, it just thought about like how I used to be. Like now what I've been doing, I've been planning things in my head and putting it down. About before my life, while I've been able to achieve things is where I'm spontaneous, where I think about something, I just put it down. And I'm like, it becomes a goal that I have to achieve regardless of what. If I have to tweak things along the way, I will do it. Like it's just, I've planned for a year. And for that year, I've been looking at the skills that can help me to reach those goals that I'm planning, which is you mentioned the coach. So for me, it was good because I didn't have to pay for the coach this year, as I won my 25K coaching grant. So yeah, so yesterday I did my second coaching, which was really, really good, and I got a homework to do. So I'm going to do that homework. Everybody has to have a coach, but I feel blessed that I don't have to spend 10 grand this year or 20 grand coaching. So I just have to, how much do you pay for your coaching, Grant? You're twisting your eyes. Is your coaching cheap?
I'm not saying quite a lot, but I've been with them a long time. And I
Yeah.
very carefully.
Yeah, it's not cheap. But for me,
Always pay the most you possibly can, because you
yeah.
get the very best return, is my advice.
Yeah, if you have a good coach, me, I've always used Des anyway. I've never used any other coach. I did use the other coach when I started, which he was free, that I found through the local council, but it was really, really helpful. He gave me some lots of tips, but then the council, they give you, the local council, they'll give you a certain amount for that person to guide you through a certain amount. So when we finish, so he gave me some tips, but then that's when I found Des. But with Des was like my coach, but he looks after everything. So if I pay whatever I pay for him to look after the company, to manage the company as well. So which is a very expensive, not cheap. So I'm so blessed that this year I just won the prize and just show up with Sai and just do the training. So yeah, that's really good. Setting goals. I've got things that I need to achieve, but in order to get to where I need to be disciplined as well. So those are part of the things, but also enjoy every moment of it. That's part of it. When you set up goals and you feel overwhelmed all the time, that's not good. So you need to have authority. So that's what I didn't have. So that's what I'm gonna do. And also it's very, very important because like what Amanda was saying, people set up goals for New Year resolution, and then after the New Year, they don't bother with them.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I realized as well. I think that was 10 years ago. Like you will sit in the group and everyone will be like, I'm doing this, and me, I'll be going for it. And when I meet them, I'll be asking, New Year resolution, are you still? I'm like, oh, that one. So I stopped setting up New Year resolution as well, because I just go the whole year. I just set up goals for the whole year. And 2020, when I'm crossing over the new year, I look at my goals, what I have achieved, what I haven't achieved. But I don't get too hard on myself if I've not achieved things that I want to achieve, because I know that sometimes the time is not mine. God is the creator of the universe. He knows his own timing. So I don't get too much wind up. I just use the gratitude part where I'm so grateful for what I've achieved in life. So those are the things that I do. Amanda Brandt has put a smart thing here for you. Measurable, achievable, realistic,
So let's
timely.
maybe we could just walk people through these. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
because I mean,
yeah.
there's a many different
Specific.
goals.
Let's start with,
I've got a way of setting goals, but it takes way longer than we got on the show to do it because it's a real deep dive.
let's start with specific. How
Yeah,
do you become
these
specific
ones
with
are
goals?
yeah, these ones are pretty straightforward for everyone to just get a quick grab of. But as Amanda said, it's the accountability. So, but if you set them up in the right way, and you can get a coach or someone to hold you accountable who's skilled at accountability, who's skilled at knowing how far to push you, where not to, and where to guide. This is the thing. This is the thing that really makes it work. But firstly, if we look at SMART goals, SMART. So if you look at S, first of all, that stands for specific. Specific. Be specific. Don't say, oh, I want to get a new job. Oh, I want to make more money. What does that mean? It's too vague, right? So you want to be specific. You want to say, well, I want to get a job as a marketing manager. Fine, that's specific. Marketing manager in the food industry. Great, specific. Or I want to make a 20% pay rise income, or increase my income by 20%. But something like that's specific. Okay, something like that. So be detailed, get the numbers in there, get the titles in there, make it specific. Because the more specific you are, the more your mind can receive it. Think of it this way, like going onto Google and saying, I want some help. You're going to get millions and millions of vague answers, and 99% of them are going to be completely unhelpful for what you want to help with. It only works if you are specific, i.e., I need a plumber into southwest London, or the southwest London, or I need a plumber in Kuala Lumpur. Right? Yeah, boom. Be specific. How do you fix a dripping tap? Be specific about it. The more specific, the more your brain can dial in, the more targeted it will be. This would also help if you're making a goal, if you're sitting there in front of a boss and they're asking you, what are your goals? And you say something, I just want to improve in my work, too vague. If you start working to the SMART acronym, they will like it because you'll be speaking language. It's kind of a very well-trodden industry standard. So you may want to use that. Again, there's many more models. I use different models, but this one's a very simple one to get you started. So S is for being specific. Amanda, any thoughts around that?
I think this is like the one that I've always really struggled with, because it would be like, okay, I want to like make more money or whatever. And like this year when I was setting my goal, I was like, I'm going to write a blog entry every single week, because that's so specific that I know I can be like, yes, I got that, or no, I didn't. And I know that I'm capable of actually doing it and holding myself accountable to do it. And that I can measure the fact that I actually like made myself do it. Whereas something that's like more arbitrary is a little bit harder for me to put around. But I know that like you can be specific in any area. And I think that's one of the things too, is like, okay, when somebody says like, I want to get better, like my my kids always be like, I want to get better at hockey. I'm like, how are you going to know that you're better at hockey? What is it that you're going to do specifically to make sure that you get better at hockey? Are you going to practice 2 times a week? Are you going to like go to a camp? Are you going to, what is it that you're going to do this? So that's the part that you can like see when somebody says, I want to get better at reading, I'm like, well, what are you going to do for that? Are you going to read 20 minutes every day? So that's the specific part. I will read 20 minutes a day so that I get better at reading. not I want to get better at reading or I want to get better at writing. It's like, what are you going to do specifically to make sure that that happens? Because that's the only way that we're going to make sure that it does happen, and then be able to come back to the goal and check that it did happen.
Right. So you got this specific, you want to get better at hockey, or perhaps I'd look at that and say, what specifically about hockey do you want to get better at? Is it defense? Is it attack? What is it? Is it stamina? What specifically is it about the game of hockey that you want to get better at? But also, as you said then, very importantly, and I was saying this to my coach today, this is what I want to get, but I'm really looking at reverse engineering it. In other words, so, okay, you want this, how? What steps are you going to take in order to get? So, yeah, so I like what you said there. That's really nice. Nomsa.
Amanda, what Amanda said, to find it hard to be specific with the finances goals. I was struggling with that, but yesterday I cracked the code why I was struggling with it. So when this guy was explaining, one of the pastors that I like, he was explaining, he actually worked with Lucifer since he was 9 years old, like as a witch. Now he is a pastor, so he was telling me how to manifest properly and how they stop, how manifestation it does not come to pass, because people, they manifest for things, they have these goals, plans, but the lifestyle and the atmosphere, you were saying the atmosphere is very, very important. Like if you are a coach, and you make these goals of finances, that this is what I'm going to reach. Make sure your inner being connects with the outside being world, how you feel on the outside. Make sure the inside is excited. Don't get disconnected to it. So that's where I've been struggling to actually, like when I set goals and say, this is what I need to achieve, but I've not been able to actually get to that breakthrough that I need, because I'm specific to what I need, but the environment, that sometimes is the people that are around us as well, because we end up carrying their burden. So he was like, you need to learn to, okay, be surrounded by people that can come and trigger you anytime, but know you to separate your feelings with them. Make sure that when somebody comes in with a negative attitude, you don't get drawn into that. It was like in the physically, it might look like you're okay, but your subconscious mind has already been hacked with that situation. So I was saying you need to learn so those things. So I've been getting up at 4, training my brain actually to stay focused. And also just looking at Ngozi talk shows and Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. And he was explaining the words, how the words can actually affect the atmosphere as well. What happens is sometimes the people, I've been like looking at people saying negative things about Hope Spring and Ngozi talk show, but I've not been canceling those words. So it was like, you need to learn to actually, every negative word that is spoken about, whatever you do, or about your destiny or anything, it was like, you need to learn to cancel it, remove it straight away. And so I've been doing that. Yesterday I was just on it and doing it. And also I like it when you and Grant is saying you have to be specific with your goals. What do you want to achieve? And that's why I always say to my children, like if my daughter comes in and say, I'm struggling with this, I'm like, we need to have a plan. But having a plan, in order for us to reach that target where you want to be, we need to have a plan step by step. How are we going to do it? Are we going to practice? If it's English that she needs to learn, or if it's maths, are you going to practice? How many minutes do you want to practice a day? I don't want to come up with the plan, because if I come up with the plan, the children are so smart, they will turn around and say, I've never agreed to that, Mommy, that was your idea. Oh, yes, Grant.
Yeah.
Children are so smart. Amanda works with children, and she'll tell you that children are very, very smart.
Yeah,
So
you can't make goals for other. You can't make goals for other people. That's for sure.
yeah, so I always say,
Right.
I always say, come up with time. And so she'll tell me the time, and then I'll be like, okay. And she'll tell me this time. But in the process, if she wants to change that time and say, Mommy, I know I said that I'm going to practice every day for 20 minutes, but can I do 15 minutes today? She has to explain why. If it makes sense, then we go for it. She'll do 15 minutes. And I find that it really, really works. And what are we doing now? Where are we going? Measurable.
Yeah, number two will be measurable.
Yeah,
So, firstly, number one is specific, and number two is measurable.
measurable. Yeah,
So, how do you measure that success is the very important thing. And this is what we're talking about. How do you measure? Because unless you can measure it, you can't manage it. If you can't manage it, you can't grow it. Okay. So, measurable. How do you measure that success? I.e., you could say, let's keep a really round, simple figure. I want to make, I don't know, £10,000 extra this year, right? Your goal may not be about money, but it's a clear example. £10,000 a year. Okay. Is that going to be equally incremental throughout the year? Fine. So if you got 10,000, let's say 12,000, right? £12,000 more or whatever throughout the year, that will be £1,000 a month, right? So if at the end of January you've not achieved £1,000 more, then clearly you've fallen behind. So you have a way of measuring it. If you made 18, if you made 1,500, guess what? You've overachieved. You can measure that, right? You've overachieved, or you've just about made it. Or perhaps that 12,000 a year, not a lot's going to happen for the first 3 months, but maybe it will start being 1.5 thousand on month 4, 5, and 6. And the thing is, at the end of the year, does it all add up to you achieving the goal? And then you chop it down into bite-sized chunks. That's a way that you can measure it. But that's important. Amanda, are you okay with measuring your goals or your kids' goals or at school, or what do you think?
Yeah, like I think we're all really good at making goals and like setting it all up. It's the like every single day or every single week attending to it, right? And I even find for myself, like yesterday, I set like 3 things that I wanted to get done and I didn't get any of them done. But to be fair, we also had a snowstorm. It took us, my daughter had volleyball, and then it took us an hour and a half to get home from volleyball. And I was just like, I'm going to do this tomorrow. And just like had a bath and shoveled the driveway and did all of the things that it just couldn't do yesterday. But then it is like, that's why I set my goal for kind of like the week, the things that I want to achieve, because then like if I have a day like that where it's like took me an hour and a half to get home from from my daughter's volleyball, so we didn't get home till almost 7 o'clock at night, and I had planned to like go to the gym and get these like spend an hour on my other things, and it just didn't happen. And so that's why I kind of set it up for the week, so that I know that if I get behind during the week when I'm working, then at least I can catch up on the weekends and I can be like really focused and get those things done. And because I set it up for myself too, that I like this month I wanted to write 4 blog entries and I wanted to do 4 like TikTok videos, because I struggle with getting myself out on social media. And in that respect, like I really could make 4 short TikTok videos in one day if I had to, in like an hour, and then just spend time editing them later. And so I did get behind the first week on the TikTok videos, and then I just made 2 really close right together. And then I edited one first, and then I edited the next one like the next week. But I already know that I can achieve that. Like this is going to be something that I can achieve this month, is writing the 4 blog entries. I've already written 3. And so like I'm already on track. I can measure that this goal is actually achievable. And it's something that I am in control of, which is making sure that I do it. And so that measurable piece, I think, is so hard for people, especially when they're like, I want to make this much more money. It's like, okay, well, what is it? Instead of like, let's not focus on the money piece. Let's focus on like, I'm going to make this many more sales calls each day. And that's what potentially is going to help me make that money as the goal, because you are in control of how many sales calls you make. You're not in necessarily control of external, right? You've got the control of the internal. And so those extra sales calls are probably going to get you to your financial goal, but you don't have control of like that financial piece that's coming in without making sure that you do what you plan to do in order to achieve those goals. And so that's how I'm approaching it. And I think that that's something that's like, when you make it measurable for yourself, something that's you can achieve yourself. And so if your goal is financial, what is it that you're going to do each week in order to achieve that? Because then you can measure, yes, I did this. My coach says that I need to make this many sales calls a day, or set my sales calls up like this. If you're in sales, I'm not in sales, I'm a teacher, so I don't know exactly how sales works, but when you set it up as like my internal, what is it that I'm going to do to achieve success, then you can measure that, yes, I did these things, and I can add on. And like, even for myself, the simple goals of like writing 4 blog entries and making sure I do 4 TikToks this month. I'm doing other things in between, like I'm editing social media, I'm checking my ads for my books, I've been working on writing a book, my next book. And so all of those things are getting done too. But those are the 4 things that I can measure, right? My other goal was do 4 pages of my book, my next book. And so really, that's all of those goals are something that I could almost do in one day if I really, really had to, but I'm trying to do it throughout the month so that I do one each week. So like 1 page of the book each week, 1 blog entry, and one video, and then I can catch up if I need to on the weekends.
Good. I like that. But I think you are in sales, but you may not realize it, but you're in the business of selling ideas and concepts and education to children. You don't sell it financially, but you sell it mentally. We're always selling. Everybody, the sales is just we sell every day. We're selling something. We're selling the idea. We're selling the concept. Politicians are doing that. School teachers are doing that. Parents are certainly doing it. Selling the idea of perhaps of eating more vegetables rather than burgers. You're always selling an idea of something. And some people sell things for, financial, direct financial exchange, or a exchange of information. It's all a sell. It's all a sell. But yeah, I love what you said there. What about you, Nomson?
I like what Amanda was saying as well, Grant, that people find it really hard. I find it really hard as well. I was one of those people. But I like how Sai works, because like how he worked, like with building my website, I'd already have a content that I've written and for my old website. But what he does is you learn, you go and implement it straight away. So it's not like, how much do you want to make? If he says, okay, how much do you want to make a month? Whatever number you say, it will give you the resources for it. And you go to, and then he will give you step by step to reach that goal. What do you need to do to reach that goal? And then he will say, I'll see you next time when it's done. So that's what we did yesterday. It was like, how do you do the marketing? Because mostly I did the marketing on Google Ads and Facebook Ads, and it was like Facebook Ads is the worst thing you can do, because I couldn't understand. I was losing money on Facebook, but I couldn't understand why. So he says, if you spend 100 and something K, if you earn 1,028,000 on Facebook or on your business a month, then you have to take some of it, maybe 20 grand, and put it on Facebook as then it works. But if you earn less than that, you actually pay Facebook with getting nothing, no returns. So that which is what was happening with me. I wasn't getting any returns, but I was losing money. So all that, no more Facebook ads, but Google ads, continue doing Google ads. And then I'm sharing you my information, guys, some of it. And then yesterday we were like doing we had to set goals. And it was like, okay, this is the information. So you have no excuse. So he will tell you, go to this website, what do you find? And then it will tell you step by step what you need to do. And then you get the homework as well for that next time when you meet him. So my goal is to make £50,000 a month for the first year, like for 2024. But that is the goal that I have set up for myself. But with his help, if I listen exactly what he says, I could make more than that, which is very, very, I have to find it very exciting, not think that is challenging. So it requires me to focus and change my mindset as well and hold myself accountable. So I think I need to find the accountability partner, which I normally I have Kamal as my accountability partner and it. So I think I need to get in touch with them. So what Amanda was saying, people sometimes they find it hard. That's my struggles as well. That's what I've been struggling. But I've realized that I don't have to struggle. As long as I've got to help somebody that can help me, I will just go for it and just set it up, measurable, say specific, this is what I need to do, and to make sure that I do it. And if I don't do it, sometimes I don't know about you guys. God works in different ways and the universe works in different ways. Sometimes we can make goals and say, this is what I'm going to do, like Amanda was saying, and then the day goes, that doesn't go the way you planned. You don't have to be too hard on yourself. I've gone through those phases where I get excited that my plan is this, but then things that don't go according to plan. So you need to stay focused. If you do find yourself in that situation, stay focused. Don't make it yourself wrong for that day and go back to it. Like Amanda, she's actually smart, like planning a week ahead. She knows that week, if she plans a week ahead, if she misses the day, she's gonna go uh, and finish it within that week. So she knows that she's got plenty of time. So that's what I do with my assignment. What I do is, if I stay, I don't like going back to things. If I say, okay, I'm going to do the assignment, it's either I do it for 2 days and I've had enough of it. If I'm doing 4,000 words, 2 days, and that's it. That means I'm staying up all night. Like if it's Friday, I'm going to stay up all night Friday, go to bed for 2 hours or maybe 1 hour, or not go to bed at all. And then the following day, I will just continue and finish it and send it off. I don't even want to see it on my computer, because if it stays on my computer, you know what we do as human beings, we're never satisfied. We always want to get better at things. We always want to do the perfection. So what I do is, once it's done, I just go and hand it over and submit it, and I don't want anything to do with it. I just wait for the results. So that's how I do my goals. That's how I achieve my goals. Or sometimes when it comes to the business, if I set goals like for the week, every single day I have to achieve something, I have to do it. But if I have a bad day, like Amanda was saying, I don't feel good about it, I sit on the sofa and just relax. And when I'm doing that, I come up with the ideas to even make my goals better as well, to create them even more creative, to get more creative. So that's what I do. But Amanda, she's a writer. Do you always have a notebook, Amanda, wherever you go? Because the ideas, they come, you have to put them down, or what do you do?
Yeah, I have a notebook that I keep beside my bed, and that I have just in my computer bag or whatever. I have notebooks all the time. Definitely, you have to write ideas down as they come to you, for sure. I think that's really important when you have an idea. And then part of it is I listened to a podcast by that Elon Musk was being interviewed in a while ago, and he said like he had no shortage of ideas. His ideas all the time, like thousands of ideas, but what he has shortage of is time to actually go and pursue them. So he had to be very specific on what it is that he wanted to focus on, and then keep working on that until it comes to fruition. And I thought that was really like empowering to listen to, because he was like, I have all these ideas all the time. It's about like focusing and getting them through to completion. So like I know there's so many people out there who's like, oh, I want to write a book. And it's like, well, then write it through to the end, and then go on to your next one. Right? And so there's people who have ideas all the time. It's that resiliency to actually take it through to the end goal. That's what so many of us are missing, is that we have all these ideas, we have all these inspirations that come to us. It's like, but then what? Well, then you have to actually work in order to achieve it. And that's the piece, that's a gap that we're missing almost all the time, is that here's my idea, here's the end point. How do I get there? Or how do I make sure that I'm consistent enough and reliable enough that I'm going to keep working on that all the time until I get there, no matter what it takes? And that's the difference between somebody that achieves really big things and somebody that doesn't, is they see all their goals, or they pick a goal and then they see it through to the end every single time, where it's measurable and achievable, and they work through it and keep going even when they are faced with failures. Like every time they fall down, they get back up and try again in a different way. They fall back down and get up and try again in a different way. And I think that's really, really key, is that resiliency to keep going.
Ant, are you there? We've done, have we done achievable?
I think Amanda was just talking about achievable. So point number 3 is achievable.
Yeah.
And it is specifically that. Is it achievable for you? Because quite often I'll get people come to me with goals, and they'll have a huge goal. I say, okay, so where are you right now? And where they want to get to? I'm like, it's not for me to tell you you can't achieve that goal, but that's a really big ask in that time. So it's like, wow, is it achievable? Or if it's like, I want to become an astronaut, in the next 3 months. Really? Are you a test pilot? Have you been to astronaut school? No, but I kind of read a book about it. Yeah, come on, be real. Yeah, is that achievable? Really? It's all achievable if you have the credentials, you have the background, you're super fit, you've got a degree in engineering and aeronautics, you're a test pilot, you're a scientist, and you got those bits in place first. Is this the logical next step for you? Is that achievable? Or sometimes I'll get people say, oh, I've got 4 kids, so I haven't got a husband, I've got that, I'm working 3 jobs. Does that mean I've got less time to spend on my business? Of course it does. Of course it does. What are you saying? Of course it does. What kind of a question is that? But is it achievable for you to achieve that within a week, within a month, within a year, within 5 years? Is it achievable? Be realistic to yourself. And I say be fair to yourself. We haven't got time to go do it, but this guy wants to sell a web company, making a lot of money, which is all very achievable, but not from where he was at that point in time, and not with the background he had. He could do it, but it would have taken a lot longer. So is it achievable? That's number 3. Point number 4, realistic. Is it a realistic goal? So achievable and realistic are similar. I would look at achievable. Is it achievable for you? Have you got the credentials? Have you got the background? Have you got the resources to put into it? Resource being time, being money, being background, being the education required to do that thing. Doesn't mean to say you can't have them. It's not being negative. It's being positive. It's empowering you for success, setting you up for success. Have you got the things you need? We know that setting up a business, 90% of small businesses fail for one reason. They go in with not enough funding at the beginning, not enough cash flow. 90% will wrap you up in the first year from that alone. So when I ask people, what's your marketing budget? What's your budget for a coach? And they say, I haven't got any. Oh, well, it's pointless. It's utterly pointless. They're not going to get there. Really not. You've got to be realistic. I mean, there's a chance they may, but a very small chance. I like to work with people to set them up for success. So obviously, if you go and open a fruit shop, it's going to be like 40 to 80,000 pounds just to start before you sold one piece of fruit. It's never been easier to set up a business now and cheaper. You need a mobile phone, you need a laptop, a bit of internet, but yeah, you do need some marketing budget or some coaching budget, because otherwise you're going to spend way much more time, money, energy, and effort trying to figure it out yourself. Trust me, I tried it years ago, and you do. And if people ever ask me, any regrets? Yeah, I should have got a coach much sooner, because that would get you there way quicker, and it pays for itself. So, are you setting yourself up for success? Is it achievable? Is it now? The other thing, realistic. You want to be realistic. Okay, you want to become, you want to, I don't know, be able to run at 100 miles an hour. Really? Is that realistic? Can any human run at 100 miles an hour? Is it a realistic goal? Because it's all about setting yourself up for success. Because when you make micro wins and you get your overall goal and then you chop them up into bite-sized chunks, it's all about hitting that first goal and celebrating. Hit the second goal, because this is telling your mind, this is hardwiring your mind chemically for success. If you make a really big goal and you fail it, how are you going to feel? Pretty lousy. Bad chemicals, lack of motivation, procrastination, all that is going to start, and you're going to start going backwards and not forwards. So that's why realistic is very, very important, so that you're setting yourself up for success. It's not going slow. Sometimes you've got to go slower to get there quicker, if that makes sense. So are your goals realistic? And the last one, which I think we're going to cover, if anyone's got anything quick comments to make on those, jump in if you have, before we go on to the last one. No? Okay, so the last one is T. Time. Timely. Is it time scaled? Very importantly, you want to make more money. You want to make $12,000. Well, I guess you will, but by when? I mean, like, what? By the time you get to 90 years old, or in 2 days' time, or at the end of the year? Let's get specific with a time. What time scale? Like I told you, the story very brief about the web designer who wanted to make £250,000 a month. Yeah, could do that. You could do that. Depends where you are now, what skills you have in place, what experience you have. Again, is it realistic? Is it achievable? In which time scale? He said he wanted to do it by the end of next month, and he had 0 experience. Not really achievable with that background, with that kind of money, no marketing money whatsoever, blah, 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 with no experience, no background, no business lined up, and within a month. Okay, and that's me being a responsible coach. So, 1, specific. Are you specific? Are you putting those numbers in? Number 2, how can you measure that? How can you measure you're on the way to success? Maybe you've got 20%, 40%, 80%. How can you measure that progress? 3, is it achievable from where you are now to where you want to get? Is it the logical next step? Like if you're a supervisor at work and you next want to become a manager, yeah, that could be the logical next step. Okay, but if you've got no experience in that industry whatsoever, no transferable skills, you've not been in work for a long time and you walk straight into it, are you necessarily going to walk straight into a director's job? Probably not. I mean, maybe, but unlikely. You may need to go in as a supervisory role, then to a management role, then a directorship role. Is it achievable? Is it realistic? And then is it realistic? What you're doing, is it realistic that you can achieve that? Are you being fair to yourself? Because you want to make those bite-sized chunks in which to do it. And then finally, the time. Have you done it in the right amount of time?
I think Amanda wants to say goodbye because she's got to go.
And she's done, because we're all finished now. We're done. 5 points for
Sorry,
me.
guys, I just have to go because I have to get to work and there's a ton of snow on my driveway. I need to do it before I go.
Me too.
But this was a great conversation and I
Do you have
love
any words of encouragement, Amanda, before you go?
just make your goal and make it use the SMART acronym that we use in elementary school and just start there. That's where we start with the kids, and it's a really easy way for you to hold yourself accountable. If you can do those ones, use those steps, then you're right on your way to doing something more complex like what Grant sets people up with, right? So start small. Like you said, you got to start where you're at. And so those SMART goal tools are something that we use even in elementary school. But have a great day, everyone, and thanks for the wonderful
Bye,
conversation.
care, Amanda.
Amanda. You take care.
And just following on from what Amanda said, I just want to say, yeah, guys, feel free to use that and be easy on yourself. The whole idea of it is you can get there, but make it specific. Are you giving yourself the right amount of time to get there? Have you got the tools, the resources to get there, the connections? Have you got the mental capacity to dedicate that time necessary to get there? So in other words, keep it smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. If you do that, you'll be well on the track. And then, most of all, ideally, get a coach who can hold you accountable, because that's the thing that's going to get you going. When the going gets tough, that's what they'll do. And make your goals in a way that they're not so huge that you're going to foul or feel terrible, or they're not so super simple that you're not stretching yourself. Find it somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot, and I think that will work well for you. And that's what I wanted to say. Again, if I could help you more, and again, I've got many more goal setting systems. That's a very straightforward one to use. But if I had longer, I could show you more. But if you want to know more about that, you can feel free to reach out to me via the show or grant.morell at Instagram. Nomsa, over to you.
Thank you so much, Grant and Amanda. For me, I would just say my words of encouragement. I would add what Grant and Amanda said. Be realistic, and also the time as well. But if you don't achieve them within the time scale, don't make it wrong. Just keep going. And Amanda mentioned before that when you find yourself struggling, pick yourself up and keep going. And also, don't worry about the reason why sometimes we don't achieve the things that we want to achieve. We end up what people think, or if people are gonna fit into that crowd or anything. Don't try to fit in with anyone. Just be authentic and to know that you are the creator of your destiny with God, of course. I'm a believer, great believer of that. What we put on earth is added to us in the realm of the spirit. So just achieve whatever you want to achieve in life. You can achieve it as long as you are realistic. You have the skills for it. Like Grant was saying, have the skills. If you don't have the skills, learn the skills. It's never too late to do anything. Learn the skills and stay focused and live with grace, everyone. If you want to contact Amanda or Grant, you can contact them through the website www.hseia.com, Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. So you can contact them through that. There's an office number there and there's an email there, or my mobile phone, I think, is there. I'm not sure. So you can actually get in touch with me. Then I'll connect with you with Grant, or you can contact them direct on social media. But if you don't get any reply, guys, with me, you get a reply straight away. So live with grace, everyone, and God bless. See you tomorrow.